ladies and gentlemen of the internet. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Virginie Vitcz. I'm a mentor and advisor for business women, celebrities, and thought leaders. And I'm also a Kundalini yoga specialist for modern life. I am launching a series of interviews of strong women who are the best in their fields. I want these interviews to inspire women all around the world and to let them know that no matter what, my darling, you can make it. So let's start with my first guest, Josie, business coach, author, and creator of a podcast. Can you please introduce yourself a little bit for our audience?
Hello, I'm so happy to be here today and be part of this amazing series of interviews. So I'm Josie May. I'm a business coach and mentor, and I work with female entrepreneurs to unapologetically create more income and more freedom in their life and business. And I have co-written a book, and I am the co-host of a podcast called The Money Mavens.
Good. Josie, what was the most difficult challenge you encountered in your life, and how did you manage to go back on track after that?
So the most difficult challenge in my life also coincides with me really going for it in my business. So prior to being a coach, I was a social worker. And so I worked in child protection, and I worked with families to help them to either be safe or to kind of grow as a family and develop. And it was a very stressful job, and I'd worked my way up to a senior level in that position. I was working very long hours, and it felt very thankless. And my husband and I had been married for a short time, and I was trying to have a baby. And I kept getting pregnant, and I kept losing the baby. I had 4 miscarriages in a row, like back to back to back to back. And at the time I was so stressed. I was doing my coaching qualification on the side because I knew I wanted to get out of social work. But me and my husband really wanted a baby, and it was so important to us, and we kept falling pregnant. And then it was just so scary because each time we were losing the baby. So we went to get checked out. He got checked out. I got checked out by doctors. And the doctor said, there's absolutely no reason why you can't have a baby. There's nothing medical. He's good. You're good. There's no reason. And so my husband said, could it be stress related? And she said, never underestimate the impact of stress on your body. And at the time I had finished my coaching qualification, and I had a few clients, just little clients here and there, but I was too scared to leave a job and go in my business. I was too scared. I had an income every month. It came and it paid me every month. And I knew I wanted more. I knew I wanted something different, but I was too scared to take that step. And this had been going on for a little while. And my husband said, quit your job. And I was like, quit my job? Quit my job. And so I quit my job, and I had to give 3 months notice. I had to carry on working for 3 months. And then I left my job on the Friday, and on the Monday I found out I was pregnant again. And my son is now 4.5 years old. So it was the most stressful time in my life, but it was the catalyst to the life that I have now. Without that, I don't think I would ever have taken that step, that brave step to leave what felt like security. Even though I was unhappy, even though I was stressed, it felt like security. I always think that we take big action, big scary action, either to move towards a big desired outcome that we really want, or to move away from pain. And I think it was so scary for me that the only way out was pain, big pain. And I think whilst it was really, really difficult, it's all part of my journey. And I can see now, wow, without that, maybe I'd still be in social work.
Yes, that's a beautiful story. I think it gives hope to anybody who can listen to it. Thank you. And so, what would you say to your younger self today?
I would say, and it's one of my favorite mantras now, is everything is working out perfectly. You might not see it, you might not understand it, but everything, the good, the bad, everything is working out perfectly. Just trust, keep going.
Yeah.
And I have to remind myself of that a lot. I put my hand on my heart and I'm like, everything is working out perfectly. Even, especially when it doesn't feel like it, especially then, is that little reminder, because I do trust that everything is working in my favor in the long run. Everything happens for a reason and it's all working in my favor. And that serves me very well in life.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm the same.
Yes.
So what would you be? Sorry?
I said, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, you know that.
Yes.
What would be your advice for a woman who is stuck in her life, has a dream, but doesn't go for it?
My advice was, if you keep trying to stay comfortable, you're going to or you keep trying to stay in this comfort zone, you're going to feel very disappointed in life. And so the best, the juiciest, the happiest, the most joyful experiences come from being brave. And you can do this. Whatever it is, you can do it. Just take the first step.
I love it. Thank you. In your opinion, what are the pluses to be coached by a woman instead of a man?
So women, on the whole, feel a lot more. We are really in touch with our feelings. And I think we add a different level of depth to things. We see things as, we see collaborative things. We see things as a bigger picture and more colourful and more feeling. And I think, you know, working with a man can be great, but it can often be very black and white and very kind of, you know, structured and planned. Whereas a woman adds more. It's like the creativity, the fun, the joy, the juiciness. And when you're working with a woman, it's a joy. There's a joy. You're tapping into that joy and igniting all that within yourself. So women rock.
They do. You do. And what are you most proud about?
I'm most proud that I never gave up on myself, and still now, like, I would never give up on myself. And I think there's times maybe in the past where I could have, and, you know, like settled. So many people settle. And it's so sad, because each one of us, every single one of us, has so much potential, so much within us that is bursting out. And unless we allow a little bit of that out, we're going to be very sad and disappointed and live this settled life that no one enjoys. And I think there was a time in my life when I could have done that. I could have pushed down that spark, that desire. And I'm proud that I didn't. And I'm proud that I kept moving forward and kept believing in myself and kept believing in the universe and all the opportunities that are available.
Yes, so true. I love our conversation. What does it mean for you to be a strong woman in the third millennium, with everything that we know? Like,
yeah, so for me,
lockdown, etc.
Yeah. For me, being a strong woman is knowing myself. And one of my favorite things that I always say is, the more me I am, the more money I make. I think we've been taught for so long.
Can you repeat that?
The more me I am, the more money I make.
It's an incantation. Thank you.
It's an incantation. And why it's so powerful is, I think, I know I did growing up, was taught like to be a certain way. I think little girls and women were taught to like be polite, treat people nicely, care about other people's feelings, fit in. And so we grow up always trying to people please, so many of us trying to people please. And often that means at the expense of who we really are. And for so long, I tried to be more like the successful people. I tried to be more like the popular, or the ones that I could see were doing what I wanted to do. And whilst I tried to be someone else, it's cut off. People feel your energy is off. They don't know what's off. Something's off. And as soon as I accepted who I am, the good, the sassy, the ugly, all of it, the more I accepted that, then the more powerful I've become. And I think for me, that is the most about being the most powerful woman, is being more me. Like, accepting every bit of it and being proud of it and showing it and not being afraid of what people think, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what people think. It matters what I think. And so, yeah.
Of course. Good. Who inspired you the most when you were younger and why?
The first person that always comes to mind is my mum. So my mum was a single parent. She was a nurse and she had a dream of teaching. She wanted to teach at a university and she studied, she did a PhD and she worked hard. She had 2 little girls. She was on her own. She was young and she just kept going and doing it and believing in herself. And she's always really been into self-development work. And she's what inspired me to kind of, read more about being whatever we can be. And she always taught us that we could be whatever we could be. And I think I'm just so glad to have had a role model like that in my life. Someone who believed in themselves and went for it, went for it with wholeheartedly, even though the situation was difficult, even though it wasn't easy, she believed in herself and went for it. And that inspired me for sure. It was a great start in life.
You were programmed to succeed.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Yes. What would you say to a woman who thinks she's too young or too old to create her dream life?
Wow. You're never too young and you're never too old. And I believe that if you have a desire within your heart, if you feel this urge, this pull, my belief is God is placing that desire in your heart, or a higher power, like whatever it is you believe in, has placed that in your heart because it's for you. And so if you don't go for it, then you're not fulfilling out your destiny. Like, you're meant to go for this. We are supposed to try it any time in our life. And sometimes people, like, look at Louise Hay. I think she was 70 or something when she built her business, like so much later in life. Yeah. And then there's teenagers that are building incredible life-changing businesses that are making the world different. And I just think age is just nothing but a number. I think it's our soul that matters, and there's no age on our soul. So go for it. Like, now's the time. If you're hearing this and you've been thinking I'm too young or I'm too old, this is your sign that you're not.
I love that. Yes. What big problem did you encounter in your career that a man won't?
I think the biggest thing is having a baby and then the responsibilities of having children. I feel that it's expected of the woman to be the one who picks a sick child up or who takes the time off. And obviously, traditionally, taking time off your work when you've had a baby, the woman takes time off after she's given birth. And I think it can really impact your career because people look at you differently, or there's that kind of time in your career that if you do have a baby, or then there's a slowness or people treat you differently. And I just don't think in the UK where I live, there is enough emphasis on how powerful that time is, how much lessons are learned, how much a woman steps up and becomes, more powerful. And I think in careers, I know that there can be a lot of, I feel that, I was probably overlooked for things in the past because of that, because you're of childbearing age or you've got young children, and men don't have that same stumbling blocks. They don't have those same obstacles in that way. So, we're working on it. We're working on it. And I just think being a mother has only made me stronger and more determined. And so I am encouraging other women as well that we step forward and I suppose speak about it. I'm glad you asked the question, because often it's just swept under the carpet. We don't want to, cause any trouble because we're girls. We don't want to cause any trouble. But actually, the more we talk about this, the more that things can change. Times will change.
Yeah, I told you why I created this series of interview, because I found out when I was looking for, the best designers in Europe, I just saw men, the best surgeon, men, etc. And I think wow, we need to talk about this. And that's why I'm inviting the best women I know in their fields. Last question. What are the greatest fear of the women you've been coaching? And what would you say to these women who are listening right now?
Yeah, an underlying fear that I see from a lot of women that I coach is, am I good enough? I'm not. Like, the fear is that they're not good enough. And it's almost like they're trying to prove a lot of the time, or scared to do big things because they feel that they're not good enough. And I think there's so much pressure in the media, in our communities, in growing up, about how women should look, how they should act, how they should, be in family, how they should be in work. And there's this kind of, it's almost like what I see as a bit of a universal fear. Some people are more in control of it than others, that I'm not good enough. And I think the more that we can see that, as I said earlier, the more me I am, the more empowered I am, the more each and every one of us can see that we were all born special. Every one of us is unique and special and amazing and has gifts. Then we can start to overcome that. And, this fear can pop up, but you can, once you're kind of aware of it, you can really be like, not let it have any power over you. Even if it's there niggling in the background, you can move forward without it impacting you. We're all scared. I don't know anyone who's not scared at some point. We get scared because, you might overcome a fear, and then if you want to expand and grow more, you've got to overcome another fear. It's part of the human experience.
Exactly.
And so fears aren't a problem. It's how we deal with the fears that matters. And I have noticed that people can often feel, am I good enough? But as long as you don't let that hold you back, as long as you don't let you stop you, then you are unstoppable.
That's a beautiful conclusion. Thank you. I love that. So Josie, what are your next projects and how can people reach you?
So I co-host a podcast called The Money Mavens. Anywhere that you listen to podcasts, you can find The Money Mavens. And so come check us out. We're currently hosting a mastermind for female entrepreneurs. So if you want to check us out, come over to themoneymavens.co.uk and you'll see all the information there. And please reach out on social media, because I love to connect with people and follow each other and just build a community of strong, goal-orientated, expansive women going for it. I love it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Josie, for sharing your story with us. And may you inspire many, many women to achieve their dreams. Thank you so much. And I'll see you for another interview. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
À bientôt in French. Thank you, Josie.